So you believe that your community needs a change. You also believe that you have a nonprofit idea that could possibly be a root cause to this change, but you don't know how to start a nonprofit. You don't know how to structure a nonprofit. You're not sure of the legal obligations of a nonprofit, running your board, the 501c3, the application with your state, all the policies and guidelines you have to follow. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step outline of exactly how to start, operate, and scale your nonprofit organization in 2025. I highly encourage you to grab a notebook, grab a pen, get you some tea, and let's dive in. What's going on, guys? Happy 2025. My name is Timothy Wright, the founder and CEO of the Nonprofit Launcher, where we've been able to successfully help almost 1,000 different nonprofits start, operate, and scale their organization with our simple strategies. And with that being said, I never want to take up too much of your time, so let's get right to it. So the very first thing that we recommend, if you have no idea the direction you want to take with your nonprofit, is to do what we call a community needs assessment form. This community needs assessment is going to allow you to collect data about your organization, the problem that you're looking to solve, but also you're going to be able to collect data about your community in general. We have a very simple method that we've titled PSP, Problem, Solution, Promotion, where we want to focus on identifying a problem in the marketplace, coming up with a valuable solution for that problem, which is our programs and services and our offers, and then we figure out how to campaign and promote our solution to the people who have this problem. This is our PSP formula. So in order for us to do this, we must first identify who our target market is going to be. Who are you looking to serve? Why are you looking to serve these particular groups of people? If you identify that, what problems do they have? Now, I don't want you to guess and think about, I believe that they have these problems. I want to encourage you to do some research so you can actually get data on the problem that these individuals are having. This is going to give you the best chances of coming up with a great program to actually solve this problem. This is how we create value. This is how we get sponsorship deals. This is how we get a lot of different donors. This is how we get people who are willing to support what we do, because money follows value. And by the way, if you need that community needs assessment form, you can click the link in our description and download our free nonprofit starter kit and be able to follow along with me throughout the remainder of this video. So after you've created your community needs assessment, now what you want to do is start coming up with what your mission, your vision, and your purpose is going to be for an organization. The reason why this is so important for you is because all the money that you generate has to be aligned with your mission, or you'll end up paying UBIT, which is also known as unrelated business income tax. So your entire organization has to revolve around the organization's mission. And the way you come up with your mission is by first creating your community needs assessment. You see how this all aligns? So let's say, for example, you don't know how to create a mission statement because you're new to the nonprofit space. In our nonprofit starter kit, we actually walk you through how to create a mission statement. But something that you can also do as well is go to ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT, my name of the organization is X, Y, and Z. We want to help these certain amount of people solve this problem. And our mission is this. Create a mission statement for me. And what ChatGPT will do is provide you a mission statement that may be useful for your organization. And this is something that you could use as a guideline to then create your own mission statement. You don't have to use exactly what they provide to you, but this can help you come up with a valuable mission statement, as well as a purpose statement and a vision statement as well. Now, not every state is the same, but most states, you're going to need at least 3 board of directors, and this could be including yourself, to actually operate as a nonprofit organization. In fact, you need this to even file. So now that you've created your mission, I want to encourage you to start considering who would you like to be on your board. Who could be your treasurer? Who could be your secretary? Who could be your board chair? Because this is going to be important, but it's not something that is solidified. Most people think that, okay, I have to find these perfect board members before I create my organization, and you don't. You can use your sister, you can use your cousin, you can use your aunt, you can use a family member. Yes, you can use family members. Yes, they can have the same last name as you. That does not determine if your organization will be approved or not. But you have to have individuals that are going to be on your board, at least for the filing purposes. Now, once your organization is approved through your state and you get your 501c3, you could then go through and change your board members as many times as you like. You just want to make sure that your board policies are in congruency with your board changes. And if you need this full list of policies, we have our nonprofit survival kit that provides you all the policies that you need, budget sheets, and so much more to actually be able to run your organization. So now that you have your 3 board of directors, again, one could be including yourself, so you may only need 2 other individuals, you are now ready to become a nonprofit directly with your state. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road for most people, because they believe that when they file to become a nonprofit, this also means that they are now a 501c3. And this is the furthest thing from the truth. These are 2 separate things. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. These are 2 separate things. The first thing you have to do is become a nonprofit directly with your state, a nonprofit only. So you have to file to become a nonprofit entity with every state that you're in. So if you just Google Secretary of State for the state of Texas, Secretary of State for the state of Tennessee, Secretary of State for California. You just type in online nonprofit filings. More than likely, your Secretary of State would have an online application that you can then walk through and fill out to become an actual nonprofit. Now, it's important to know that you're not going to be filing to become a limited liability corporation. You're not filing to become a sole prop. You're not filing to become an S Corp or a C Corp. You're filing to become a nonprofit organization. Now, depending on the state that you're in, maybe like California or Maryland, for example, the application won't say nonprofit organization. It'll say non-stock organization or non-stock corporation. So that's something that you want to ensure that you're paying attention to when you're filing your organization. You're looking for the terms nonprofit organization or non-stock corporation, and this is going to allow you to become a nonprofit in your state. More than likely, your state will also have instructions of what you need to do to actually become a nonprofit with your state, and gives you instructions for the online application as well. A couple things you're going to need to know is you're going to need to have what we call a registered agent. Your registered agent is going to be someone who represents your organization legally. So LegalZoom offers this service, Swiss Filings offer this service. There's so many different platforms online that offer this service, but it does cost annually. So it may be $149 a year or $249 a year, just depends. But you or your secretary can also be the registered agent for your organization. And that's actually the route that we prefer that you take. You don't need to pay anyone to be your registered agent. You can be your own registered agent, which means that you'll be the individual that is responsible for all the documentation that your organization is going to receive. With becoming a registered agent, you must live in the state that you're filing in. So on the application, it's going to ask if you are a resident of this state. You want to put yes. It may not ask that question, but if it does, you want to definitely make sure you put that. But when it comes to your address, you want to ensure that your address is something that is in the state of your filing. That is the only way that you can actually be a registered agent for your organization. And then eventually you'll get to the part in your application where it's asking your organization's purpose or your organization's mission. This is where you want to use the mission that you created from ChatGPT or the mission that you already have or your purpose that you already have, and you're going to put that right there where it says the mission of the organization. You want to make sure that you click on no members, or if you're going to have members, you want to specify the reason why. The organization should be perpetual. And then once you're done, you'll sign as the incorporator of the organization. This does not mean that you are the owner of the organization, because with the nonprofit, there actually is no owner. There are individuals who govern the organization, which is going to be you and your board. But if you're filing the application on your own, you're going to be the incorporator for this organization. Now, once you submit your application with the state, the fee for the filing could be different. We've seen $25, we've seen $50, we've seen $100, we've seen $170, we've seen $200. They have expedited fees as well. It could be an extra $100, an extra $50, an extra $250. Just depends. You do what's comfortable for you. Now, once your nonprofit is approved, you are now a nonprofit organization, but we're not finished yet. We have to now go get our EIN number. This is going to be your employer identification number. This represents your nonprofit social, if you will. My name is Timothy Wright. I have a social security number that is attached to my name so I can be identified by the government. Your business, any business that you have, your nonprofit in particular, is also going to need a identifier. And this is again what we call our EIN number. So if you just type in IRS EIN on Google, IRS EIN on Google, there will be a website that the IRS has where you can immediately get your EIN number for free. Anytime you see someone charging you for an EIN number, or you may get letters in the mail from your state trying to charge you for it to get your EIN number, just goes to show you we live in capitalism economic system. But your EIN number is completely free. Do not pay any platform to get your EIN number. And by the way, this is what a lot of people do. A lot of people come to me and they say, Tim, we've already created our nonprofit, we have our name, and we have our EIN number. Could you help us with our 501c3 application? And I always tell them, you getting your EIN number does not qualify you to be an actual entity. You have to first file directly with your state. The state is going to provide you something called your certificate of formation. This certificate of formation will be the document that now approves you of being a nonprofit. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. An EIN number without filing with the state does not qualify you to be a nonprofit. You need both. So we've done our community needs assessment. We created our mission statement. We found our board members. We filed directly with the state. We got our EIN number. The next thing that we want to do now is go to dnb.com so we can get our Duns and Bradstreet number as well. A Duns and Bradstreet number is going to allow your organization to start establishing business credit as an entity. Yes, your nonprofit can establish business credit. Yes, your nonprofit can establish relationships with banks, Bank of America, Chase, Navy Federal. And yes, you can get lines of credit. Yes, you can get loans. Why is that? Because you are a business entity. Now, once we've done that, you are now ready to apply for your 501c3. Now, your 501c3, which is something everyone talks about, this does not determine if you are a nonprofit or not. The 501c3 is a tax code. Only a tax code that determines if your nonprofit is taxed or not taxed. Does that make sense? So when you first file directly with your state, you are now a nonprofit, right? When you get that EIN number, now you've identified your nonprofit. But this does not mean that you are 501c3 yet. This means that you are just a nonprofit. And now the next step is for you to fill out your 501c3 application. So what you can do is go to pay.gov. That's pay.gov. You need to create an account with them. It's going to be completely free. And once you create an account with them, you can now file your 501c3 application. So as soon as you get on the website, if you go to pay.gov right now and you scroll down kind of towards the bottom, you will see where it says apply for 1023-EZ. 1023-EZ, which is going to be the form that you're going to be using. But wait, there's two forms that you want to be mindful of. There's a 1023 form and then there's a 1023-EZ form. The 1023 form is a long form for nonprofits or churches who expect to generate at least $50,000 or more in donations, grants, sponsorships, revenue in general. If you believe that you're going to generate at least $50,000 or more within your first 2 years, you want to go ahead and fill out the long form application, which is going to be $600. Now, the 1023-EZ application is a more streamlined, it's a shorter application. It's only $275, but this only allows your nonprofit to generate $50,000 gross for the first 2 years. And it's important to know that if you are a church, you cannot fill out the 1023-EZ form. You have to fill out the long form. Again, churches, you cannot fill out the 1023-EZ form. You have to fill out the $600 long form nonprofit organization form. So with your 501c3 application, you're going to want to make sure that you have all your board members, what their roles are, like secretary, treasurer, president. You're going to need your organization's EIN number and then all of the basic information about your organization. You'll get to a certain point on the application where it's going to again ask you the organization's purpose. And this is going to ask you what the organization's NTEE code is. An NTEE code is how the IRS will determine what type of 501c3 that you're going to be. So if you've already downloaded our nonprofit starter kit, you will see we have a complete list of NTEE codes there that will tell you exactly which one you need. You can also use ChatGPT, just put in your mission, your vision, your purpose statement and say, hey, what is the NTEE code of my organization based on our mission? And they'll provide you with a list of NTEE codes as well. And if you're new to the nonprofit space, even though I'm giving you the information, it still may be too much and overwhelming for you. We also have our done for you services that we file your organization directly with your state. We create your policies, your procedures, your bylaws, a marketing plan. We create your website. We file your 501c3 for you, short form or long form. You can also click the link in my description below and you can see all the testimonials, all the success that we've had with almost thousands of different organizations as well. We would love to serve you, but we also want to make sure that you have the information to do it on your own if that's what you desire. So after you file to become a 501c3 with the IRS, we wait. Approval normally takes between 30 to 45 days for the EZ application. It could take upwards to 60 days sometimes. And then for the long form application, expect probably 45 to maybe 90 and sometimes a little bit longer than that to be approved. If you're on the IRS website, the IRS may say that we're backed up for a year, we're backed up for 6 months. That's 100% not true. Go ahead and submit your application and it will be approved probably within 30 to 45 days. That's what we've seen on a normal basis. Even with long form applications, we've seen most long form applications be approved within 60 to 90 days. And your approval, aka your determination letter, will be delivered and mailed right to your mailing address. So you want to ensure that the mailing address that you put on your application is an actual address. Do not use a PO box. Do not use a PO box. Even when it comes to you filing with your state as well, no PO box allowed. So now we have the community needs assessment. We created our mission. We have our board members. We've actually filed directly with the state. We've got our EIN number. We've got our Dun & Bradstreet account. We've got our NTEE code. We went ahead and filed our 501c3 application, short form or long. We're waiting on approval. And now it's time to actually start structuring out what the business model is going to be about. This is where we want to create the business plan. And to summarize, you want to ensure that your business plan consists of these three things. PSP, problem, solution, promotion. You want to identify the problem that you're looking to solve in the marketplace. You want to make sure that you provide data that specify this is actually a problem. You heard the saying before that says men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. So me and you can go back and forth all day. Tim, mental health is a huge problem in our community. There's so many women who are pregnant and they need solutions, right? Our healthcare system is terrible. There's people who get out of prison and they need our help, and the judicial system is terrible. And I could easily disagree with you, even if I agree with you just for the sake of it, if you have no numbers to back it. Again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So instead of you trying to spend all of your time trying to convince someone why this is such a good idea with only passion, only conviction, I want to encourage you to persuade them with numbers, because the math is the map. Can you write that down for me? The math is the map. When you're running a business, if the numbers doesn't make sense, more than likely, it probably doesn't make sense. The same concept goes when you're trying to determine if this is a problem or not. If the data doesn't tell you or tell me or tell the grant maker or tell your sponsor that it's actually a problem, more than likely it's probably not. But if you're able to provide data, hey Tim, did you know that 37% of women who get out of jail end up going back their first year? Hey Tim, did you know that 75% of black girls who are ages 15 and 18 deal with some type of molestation or some type of verbal abuse? And I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that. And you provided me data that is hard for me to argue against. Does that make sense? You provide me data that's difficult for me to argue against. And this is the biggest reason why a lot of the times you struggle with getting support, is because you only try to convince them with your words, but you don't try to persuade them with the math. So after we have that data, this should be in your business plan, by the way, we want to now start discovering what our solutions are going to be. This is going to be our products, our services, our programs. What product could you offer as an organization that further produces your mission, but also makes a difference in your community? What services could you be offering as an organization that you may provide a service fee for or not? That's completely up to you. But what services could you be offering that help promote your organization's mission? It also solves a problem in your community. Then what programs could you have? Whether they're paid programs or not paid programs, what programs could you have that actually makes a difference in your community, exposes your organization, and then further produces the organization's mission? So within the discovery of your solution, you're also going to probably come up with a budget of how you're going to make this happen as well. This is going to be a conceptual budget that you want to have a part of your business plan to give an outline of what you see happening inside the organization. And again, I want you to remember me saying this: conceptual. Conceptual, meaning that it doesn't have to be exact today. This is going to be projections of what you think is going to happen. This is how you get people to see the vision of your organization. And then last but not least, the promotion, the campaigning, aka the marketing, the relationship building, the networking, the events, the politicians, right? The fundraising. All these things align with the promotion, which in my opinion is going to be the greatest aspect of your organization. I want you to write this down for me. Best known beats best product every time. And as I say that, you've experienced that in your life. Best known beats best product every time. This shirt right here, doesn't matter what it costs, $300, $400, $500, $600. This is a simple shirt with a logo on it, right? Burberry on it. Because this is more known than, let's say, a Nike shirt, or has more quality in someone's mind than a Reebok shirt. Someone is willing to pay more for maybe a product that's not as good, because best known beats best product every time. So I definitely want to encourage you to work on your programs, work on your services. That is key, that those are good. But I don't want you to only create a great service, a great program, and then you tell no one about it, because it will not work. I'm your friend. If you scroll through my page, I make all these videos because I really want to help you. So let me say this to really help you. If you tell no one about your organization, no matter how good the idea is, it will not work. So this isn't one of those things that you want to keep a secret. Tell the world about it. Tell everybody about it, because you never know whose life you can change by spreading the message. So now we have the business plan. You're waiting on your 501c3 approved. The question is, now we want to start creating digital footprints. We're living in 2025 now. We need digital footprints. How can we do that? Content you could be creating on social media to get more people to find out about you. You could be creating newsletters where you could be found on Google SEO where more people can find out about your organization. You can create YouTube videos, educational videos about your cause and what you feel is going to be a great solution for this organization. But then you can also have a website, which is where we're recommending you start. You want to have a website as a digital footprint of your organization. It's one thing for you to meet someone or talk to someone over Zoom and you're expressing to them what your organization does, how it's valuable, how you're making a difference in the community, but it's a completely different ball game where you're able to give them a digital footprint to then go look and see and create a perception for themselves. This is going to be very, very key. And I want you to think about how often you do this. If you meet someone online, if you meet someone at the store, or if you meet someone, at church and they give you their information, you may want to find out a little bit more about them, find out a little bit more about their business. I find people on social media, people find me rather on social media every day. They've seen my content, they've seen my videos, they've seen the testimonials, they know for sure that what we do works, and yet they still want to go to my website to create their own perception. This is the key in having a digital footprint. Now, after we've done all this, I want to encourage you to do a couple of things. Number one is you want to have your very first board meeting, and the sooner the better. You don't need to have everything in place before you have your first board meeting, but you want to be able to get an idea of who's willing to really support with effort, with time, because if you find people that's on your board who are not willing to support you, you need to get rid of them ASAP. The sooner the better. Replenish people as fast as you can if you need to. You heard the saying before, hire slow and fire fast. Companies really adopt that mentality where they're not so itchy to bring people in, but they're very quick to let people go if they're not a good fit for their organization because they have real vision. We created a video on your first board meeting and exactly what you want to do, what you want to talk about, and how you want to actually position yourself as a leader. That video will be down in our description as well. But from here, you'll gain a lot of clarity on what you want to do next once you have your board meeting, which will then probably lead to your first fundraising event, your first marketing campaign. Maybe you guys want to start creating content to start building up your organization's awareness and network. And then the next thing is you want to start establishing a true network outside just the people that you know. How many strangers or how many people in position of business know that you're starting this nonprofit organization? Maybe you want to get in contact or try to befriend the mayor. Maybe you want to become friends with good citizens in your area. What is one of the biggest small businesses in your area? Maybe it's a shoe store. Maybe it's a printing company, but they're not like FedEx. They're not like Foot Locker, but they're a smaller local business. Maybe you walk in, introduce yourself to the owner, introduce yourself to the manager, and start creating relationships, telling people about your vision. And this is going to be a key ingredient in your organization, your ability to cast the vision to people. You're a man or woman of faith. You heard the scripture that says, where there is no vision, the people shall perish, and they perish from a lack of knowledge. There's another version that says, where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. Now, if you think about that very briefly, I'm not going to give you a whole sermon here, but think about casting off restraint. The definition of restraint is to hold yourself within limits and boundaries, your ability to say no. So if someone doesn't have vision to be fit, they have no reason to cast off the restraint of eating bad food. If they have no vision to build a big organization, they have no need to cast off the bad financial decision making. Does that make sense? If you have no vision to lose 35 or 40 pounds, then again, you have no reason to cast off the restraint of eating bad foods or doing things that you know you should be doing. Does that make sense? So in your business, in your organization, if you do not cast a vision, the people will cast off restraint to what's needed to actually fulfill the vision. If you don't cast a vision, the people will perish. So for you as a leader, I want you to tell as many people as possible about your organization, and don't speak about only today. Speak about the future, where you see this thing going for real, how big you see this thing going for real. You'll be surprised on how many people want to follow you because a lot of us were lost. And we need leaders to follow so we can get to where we desire to go as well. Maybe you're the individual that's supposed to step up and be the leader for other people's world. And then last but not least, we get into the funding aspect, whether it be lines of credit, business funding, loans, or grants. And I want to make sure I'm clear about this. I believe that 7 times out of 10, starting your organization, you and your board or you are going to be the individuals that are dishing out finances to turn this thing into a reality. This is an important acceptance as well. This is a business. This is America. Capitalism is a real thing. I want to encourage you to start studying capitalism a little bit if you don't really understand it. I think that How we view what we do determines how we do what we do. Our perspective drives our performance. So if you understand capitalism, you will understand our biggest reason why we say that nonprofit does not mean no profit. There's not a business in this country that gets sustained without revenue. There's not a business in this country that we're living in, America, United States, that can sustain without revenue. So I definitely don't want you to think that, okay, money is only going to come from grants. Well, I can't make any money, so I have to ask someone for it. That's not true. You definitely can and you should get investors. You definitely can and should get silent investors. You definitely can and should get grants. But what I want to encourage you to do is to create valuable programs and services and offers that people desire to pay your organization for. This could also be the same regard in sponsorships. This could also be the same regard in partnerships. If you come up with a valuable enough reason, you can get an annual sponsor, a multi-year sponsor, right? A 10-year sponsor. You can get multi-year grants. We've seen it. An $80,000 grant over a 3-year period, right? A $125,000 grant over a 4-year period. We've seen it with our own 2 eyes. So we know for a fact that it can be true for you as long as you are continuously working on your value proposition. And lastly, I want to encourage you to put the pedal to the metal. I know everyone won't tell you that. I'm going to be the individual that I want to encourage you to put the pedal to the metal this year. Whenever you're watching this video, I want to encourage you to put the pedal to the metal this year. So what we do a lot of the times is we rationalize with ourselves on why we haven't created our organization yet. But rationalizing is a rational lie. A lot of the times we talk ourselves out of things that we're supposed to be doing only because of fear, laziness, more fear. And then the last thing is the lack of competence. And what I've learned is that competence brings confidence. Competence about a thing gives you confidence in a thing. So maybe for you to hit the ground running, this is an opportunity for you to gain as much information that you can about the nonprofit space over the next 30 days. Don't give yourself a full year. Well, this year, I want to give myself, all the time I need to learn about the nonprofit space. No, stop doing that. Stop. There's no goals that we have for December 31st. No. Set the goal for February 15th. Set the goal for March 2nd. Speed up the process here, right? There's a great quote that says, if you continuously put your dreams in the future, that's where they'll always be, right? I want to encourage you to set a deadline and hit the ground running this year, and don't be afraid to make a mistake. There are 2 types of people in your market right now. One of them, they haven't pulled the plug yet because they're afraid to look dumb. They're afraid to make a mistake. They're afraid to look small. They're afraid to look like they don't know what they're doing. And then there's another person who's willing to make the mistake, who's willing to be small, who's willing to look dumb, who's willing to fail, to get on the other side of life, right? To get on the other side of where they desire to be. The only question I want to ask you is, which one is you? Look, guys, my name is Timothy Wright, the founder and CEO of the Nonprofit Launcher. Take this year serious when it comes to building out your nonprofit organization. If you need some more help, again, download our nonprofit starter kit. We have a nonprofit survival kit that provides you everything that you need to run your organization. We have a done for you service as well if you want a team of professionals to do it for you. And if you don't need that, we also have a do-it-yourself bundle. We provided all the information and the tools that you need to grow your organization, and the barrier of entry is $20, $30, $40, $50. If not free, take advantage. Don't take for granted. We respect you. I respect you. I admire you. This is the year. Whenever you're watching this video, this is the year of execution. I approve this message. I'm signing off. Peace.